Hello everyone, welcome back to the TJOmega channel for day 1006 of our daily content grind. Today we have a whole bunch of new releases from Hasbro to talk about. They've been doing these little incremental releases this week of revealing all the new product. Well, today it's all up for pre-order. If you'd still like to pre-order all of yours, then please visit the link to Entertainment Earth in the description below. Helps out the channel while you go ahead and procure your toys. Everyone's happy. I appreciate it greatly when you do. However, we're not here for shameless plugs. We are here to shamelessly plug Hasbro's new stuff and to give you my thoughts and opinions of it. So we are going to start at the small scale, work our way up to the weird stuff, and that starts with our Energon Galvatron at the core class. Pretty much the most obvious thing they could have done, right? There's absolutely no surprise that this one came along. It looks good for what it is. I'm very happy that they went with a blue face and a silver crown, so it's not entirely accurate to the original toy, but you know what? I'll take it. I'll take it. I really wanted it to be based on the US version of Galvatron, not the one from Super Link, but I knew it was going to go screen accurate, so I just kind of braced myself for the inevitable on this one. But it's pretty much what we expected. It's not bad for that. Vehicle mode, again, looks fine. There is something someone compared it to the Kabaya kit that I talked about on this channel before, and yeah, like the opaque plastic instead of the translucent, the simplified deco, definitely gives that vibe. You know, at core class, that's pretty much to be expected. It's going to be a neat little figure to have, just to kind of like sit around on a desk, because I do like Energon Galvatron as an overall design, so having a little one's not going to be a terrible thing, you know, not in the least. We move on into the next core class, which is another one of our faux rock lords. The name escapes me off the bat. Like, I'll figure it out. I will fish out the name from my brain here in a minute. But suffice to say, it's a little underwhelming, isn't it? It's a repaint of Boulder Crash, and honestly, it's not a whole lot different, is it? The name's Geocron, by the way. So Geocron here is kind of brown, where the other one was reddish brown, and purple where the other one was kind of maroon or burgundy color. It really isn't that much of a visual shift, and that's kind of disappointing. You know, especially because like this looks like it's going to be the only core class we get for the armorizers. So I was really hoping that, you know, if it was going to be repainted, it would give you like some nice big pop variety for you. Unfortunately not, from the looks of it. I do appreciate that the head sculpt is based on the actual rock monsters from the Headmasters cartoon. We keep talking about Infernac universe. That's where that's derived from. So a direct homage to that. That part's appreciated. Man, I just wish it looked a little bit different than this. Yeah, I really feel like they could have done better on the deco. I just feel like it should have been like a big contrast to the original rather than what seems to be something that could blend in with it, as if you were meant to have like a small squadron of these core class rock guys. Which I can imagine that was the goal at one time, the thought process at least, but I don't know. I don't know. It's not what I would have done with it. It looks okay. It just doesn't look unique enough, that's all. That's the core class, though. Well, we will jump up to the deluxes, and we need to talk about Slipstream. I knew this was going to be a Windblade retool. I just wish it had been a more extensive retool than it was. So the only real change to the mold is the fact that the head has been swapped and we've lost her sword and instead gained 2 null rays. The null rays cannot mount in any of their traditional positions. You can mount them on the wings underneath in vehicle mode, but they do look really weird there, which I'll show you in a minute. But there's nothing around the torso that lets them mount to the arms the way they're supposed to, which is very disappointing. You know, it's already disappointing to me that so little was put into the retooling, you know, because it's Slipstream. She's supposed to look like a female Starscream, and this is just, at a glance, it kind of looks like Starscream in the helmet design, but it falls apart after that. It's disappointing. Like, I would have preferred, like, retooled wings that didn't have the VTOLs. I would have preferred retooled shoulders that were blockier and actually could mount the null rays, you know? It's a letdown. It just feels like a check-the-box kind of retool. Yes, there's a Japanese figure of Slipstream that is a Windblade retool. It really just feels like, hey, this unique character, yeah, we're just going to stick you in this female mold that we already have, which we've already criticized Hasbro in the past of limiting the number of female molds and kind of homogenizing all the female cast into just 2 or 3 figures. So this kind of falls into that mindset, unfortunately. I just wish, like, I would accept this. I would absolutely accept this if they just did a little bit more to make it more like a Seeker and less like Purple Windblade. That's all I really want. Is just try a little bit more. Just so I can get some idea that this is, you know, a proper version of Slipstream. I still think the best one we ever got was done from the Prime Star screen. Because not only did it have the feminine figure, it also had the traditional stylings and shapes of a Seeker, while still looking fairly different, you know? So, yeah, that was a disappointing release. Not gonna lie, that one kind of let me down. Let's see what else we had on tap. Oh, we have Quake. Quake is kind of interesting in the fact that, okay, so the robot mode looks fine. It looks more like Quake than the original Titans Return figure did, because it does have a lot more blue to the chest. They've obviously modified it from the original toy because it is a extensive retool of, I want to say, yeah, the Skullgrin mold. I mean, once you see the vehicle mode, it's a little bit hard to tell. You can tell it better in the robot mode, which is rare, actually. It doesn't look bad. I'm glad that he comes with his 2 Target Masters. Considering that mold was already released as a deluxe, the fact they could work into Target Masters into the budget, very appreciated. Thank you, Papa Hasbro. We take a look at the tank, and the tank is so goofy. The tank is so goofy. Like, its turret is so high up on this just stack of blocks that looks like an accidental Lego project. It looks like you dropped a Lego on the ground, and like a Lego set on the ground, and tried to piece it back together, and didn't, without the instructions, and just kind of like cobbled it. There, close enough. It's a weird tank. It's a super weird tank. I don't know, like, it's one of those toys where I'm going to pre-order it just because it is so weird looking that I kind of appreciate just how weird and off and wrong it is. It's bizarre. It's really bizarre. But I guess that's what they want. Well, I guess it's the best they could do. Quake's a minor character. They aren't going to make a brand new mold for Quake, so I guess it's just whatever tank was lying around. I don't know, you couldn't have used Impactor? I don't know. I don't know. At least it's another one of the dual Target Masters. It's one of the dual, you know, one of the smaller Target Masters. Another one checked off the box. Quick mix on the way, I'm hoping. Get the one I had. Maybe. Let's talk about the big deluxe that everyone's going to be talking about. We have Missing Link Convoy at home. Optimus Prime. I joke, but there is a genuine reason for this, because this is going to be $25 as opposed to $70 to $80, even for just the individual cab version of that toy. This one's obviously going to have no die cast. It's going to be much more accessible to fans. It's also smaller because it's a normal size deluxe. It's not, you know, so yeah, in vehicle mode, spot on Optimus Prime. They had a little bit extra in the budget, apparently, because the tires got rubberized, so he rolls well, like the original toy. And then we have the robot mode, which just straight up looks like an articulated version of the G1 toy. Missing Link, how you doing? It's bizarre to me that this means Missing Link and this toy would have been developed around the same time, so engineers at Takara were figuring out how to do, like, G1 Optimus Prime with full articulation and no part forming, and then simultaneously figuring out how to do it, but much cheaper. That's an interesting little thought process behind the whole thing, isn't it? I mean, it looks interesting. You know, and obviously it's a G1 Optimus, so there's a plethora of repaint material out of this, so I'm sure they're going to love having that. But if we take a look, there. I want to go into the extended photos for this because most of these have behind the scenes already. So we do get a little bit more information about them. So from the Mark Clonus Instagram account, we can see the matrix that comes with this Optimus Prime. It's all translucent blue. They just didn't bother to paint it. I assume it's a different mold than all the others because this is a deluxe size toy. And we're not just going to add to that pile. Shows that the smokestacks can come off, so you can use the 5mm pegs on the shoulders for extra accessories, or you can use them, the actual smokestacks as accessory weapons. Nice. There's a size comparison with the G1 Optimus Prime, quite a bit shorter than the OG toy. Of course, that's about standard to like normal Transformer Deluxes these days. What the image that gets me the most is the one in packaging, because it just looks like a G1 Optimus Prime toy stuffed in a modern box, and that is such a surreal sight. There's almost part of me that's disappointed that this is marked as G1 Universe Optimus Prime. I really would have loved for this to have been marked as like Toy Universe Optimus Prime, or just like something to indicate, yeah, it's the toy, not the character. I feel like this is the one that's going to be all the rage and all the talk. Not only because this is, I believe, the only figure out of this entire set of reveals that is a 100% new mold. Everything else is a repaint or a retool. But also, it's just such an odd thing for them to do, both from a collector standpoint, because, hey, missing link, but also just so different from anything else they're putting out. It's bizarre. And I'm interested. I'm interested, if only to have that novelty of an articulated G1 Optimus Prime toy without the fragility concerns I have over the missing link convoy. Let's put it that way. Let's step up to Voyagers, where the first reveal is the guy we've already gotten. So it's Metal Hawk again, and they mark this as a packaging refresh. But it's not quite, because they've switched up the plastic colors a little bit to match the more vibrant colors that the shell had, rather than the internal robot. And honestly, I think it looks worse. I think the dark blue offset the bright yellow and red of the original toy a little bit better. I think I liked the lighter shade of gray rather than this gunmetal. I don't know. I know they're just switching up which version of Metal Hawk they're accurate to. I just feel like this is so unnecessary. I feel like this is a waste of a slot. Because it's not like Metal Hawk was that hot of a mover when he was first released. I can't imagine collectors going, yeah, I'll double down on that for, what looks like the exact same toy, except they got the Pantones wrong. And other than that, yeah, it's the exact same toy. Nothing really more to say about that. It's just kind of dull. It's just kind of repetitive. Let's go on to another retool that we knew was coming. But hey, it's awesome to see the Motor Master is back. I am sad that the packaging does not name him the Motor Master. It is Decepticon Motor Master because that's the trademark. Yeah, it's the BotCon figure. It's great to see a modern version of one of the last animated characters Derek worked on. Yeah, it's interesting in the fact that the head sculpt on this guy is very much just straight up the Derek Wyatt design. They did not try to G1ify it in any way, shape, or form like they do a lot on the Legacy toys. It seems like the animated figures are treating with a little bit more respect, than the ones they did for Transformers Prime, where all like the Prime characters were kind of reimagined to be more G1 centric. The animated toys are designed to have like the modern engineering style, but still retain some of the animated flair and flavor. And that really does come across a lot in the Motor Master. I'm going to keep calling him by his proper name. I will admit, the behind the scenes for him, the Mark posted, is amazing because it's peppered with a lot of old school wrestling references. Because if you forgot, let's not forget, this guy is very heavily coded Macho Man Randy Savage. And yeah, I kind of adore him. I kind of adore this. Vehicle mode is basically what you would expect. No real surprises deco-wise. It's just a black and purple truck with some neon green highlights. It still looked pretty good to me. So this is another one I am excited for. I am highly interested in. We move on. We go into the leaders, and the leaders are pretty much exactly what we expected from the listings. So we have an Armada Galvatron, which, interesting, 2 Galvatrons in the same wave of announcements. This one never really did much for me. I know a lot of people who prefer this color scheme to the original Armada Megatron, but I was never terribly into like the white, burgundy, and purple and lavender. I don't know. That's just me though. Personal preference here. I will prefer the original Megatron over whatever this one is doing. But it's the obvious one. It's the one you have to do. If you do a Unicron Trilogy Megatron, you got to do the Galvatron too. We have seen that in the core class. It's true in the leader class. Where's my Cybertron? Where's my updated Cybertron version? Which is going to look terrible, by the way, if they ever do, because Cybertron Megatron is like whatever color was lying around in the factory that day thrown onto a toy. There's no way a modern toy is going to have the paint budget to make it. There's the tank mode. Yeah, where all the off-white kind of comes through. It looks fine. Don't get me wrong, it looks fine. It's just not a deco or a version of the character that really does anything for me. That's just my experience. That's just my preference. If you've been looking forward to Galvatron, or if you're holding out, the toy itself is good. And of course, we got Tidal Wave coming out, which is going to make the toy even better, thanks to some upgrade parts. So yeah. If you were waiting for this toy, congratulations, it's on the way. Speaking of waiting for a toy, oh my god, so the other leader class they announced was Soundwave. It's the Netflix mold, and it's going to be available at normal retail, so guess what? that Netflix one's about to tank and nosedive on eBay. I think the biggest hope a lot of people have for this one is that it doesn't yellow. Now, mine, fortunately, never did. So when mine hits eBay, because I have the dramatic capture version of Soundwave now there's this one on the way too. It's going to be a little bit rougher of a sale now than it used to be. But what we have here is a mostly similar Soundwave to the Netflix version. There are some deco changes, but they're so minor, like red eyes. He has red eyes now. But the deco changes are so minor that it's really not a whole huge deal behind this anymore. He still comes with that X-Test gun that most people can't figure out what the one in his right hand that no one can figure out what it is. It's for the back of the Megatron toy from that era, because it's his like shoulder thing. It's his gun barrel. I don't know. I think the bigger news here is the fact that it comes with 3 cassettes in order to bulk out the price point. So we are getting another release of Rumble. We're getting another release of Ravage, and oh my god, they're finally doing a Buzzsaw. Are you kidding me? I might be buying yet another version of this Soundwave mold just to get my hands on a Buzzsaw. I was really hoping that we would get a Marvel, like when they're doing the Marvel comic exclusive boxes, which we're about to talk about, by the way. I was really disappointed. I was really disappointed that Soundwave wasn't among them. I've been after a comic book colored Soundwave for a long time. I thought that would have been a perfect way of getting Buzzsaw out while still offering something new. Nope. You got to buy a bunch of repaints. Well, not even repaints. I got a bunch of reuses. And there is the cassette player mode, the tape modes. No real surprises there. They pretty much look the same. Aside from, Buzzsaw is a little bit golder. Apparently the one that's going to hit retail isn't going to be this kind of brass bronzy color. It's going to be like proper gold. So this is not complete. It's not complete just yet. It is noted that some of the behind the scenes stuff, if you go looking for it, you have to make note. Some of it is not finished deco. Some of it is still going to be modified to be a little bit nicer when it comes out. So let's get to the multi-packs. And the multi-packs, I think, is where everyone is really going to be doing a lot of their talking. So for starters, the final Marvel pack has been revealed. It is a 2-pack of Flame and Emirate Xaaron. And a lot of people are going to ask, who are these two? So, Emirate Xaaron is the original leader of the Wreckers. He is the creator of the Wreckers. Flame is something of a mad scientist amongst the Autobots who went nuts and became a villain in the Marvel UK comics. I should note, they're both very heavily involved in the Marvel UK universe. Neither one, despite that notoriety, has ever had a toy before, so this is something of a big deal. So, Xaaron is, I believe, another reuse of that bludgeon mold. So he's just kind of going to be some kind of like weird tank thing. The original Emirate Xaaron never actually transformed. That's a big important thing. Because like to the point where like even attempting to transform, he hadn't done so in so long, it was actually like a danger to him. Wait, hang on. I gotta blow this up just to make sure I don't get this wrong. Because I wanted to say that he was just another, I wanted to say he's another retool of, I was going to say he was another retool of the Skullgrin mold because he's just kind of like this floating blocky tank. I'm looking at the, I'll show you the vehicle mode here in a minute because we got to talk about Flame as well. No, it looks like he's actually Refractor's mold. That's a weird pull. That's a weird pull. Can 3 of these combine? Can 3 of these combine into some like twisted wreck of a camera? Oh my, okay. Get back to me. When someone can do that, get back to me. It is cool that he's finally getting a toy though. Flame, on the other hand, he is the Gamer Edition Fall, War for Cybertron Megatron. And he's weird. He's really weird. So the torso got retooled and the head got retooled in order to match the original character. That's cool. That's good. None of the other parts got retooled. That's bad because none of the rest of it really looks like Flame at all. Flame is a much smoother design than this. And then when you get to the vehicle modes, now you can see what I mean. That like weird hover tank, the blocky hover tank thing threw me off. But the longer I look at it, the more I'm remembering the refractor mold. So, interesting choice. Fascinated that you get that much use out of a refractor as they have. But then you have Flame there, and that is not Flame's tank mode. Flame did not have a hover tank mode. He had like shielding in the front of his turret. This is wrong. This is really just like, it's the mold we had lying around. Just take it because we're not doing another one. In fact, yeah, both of these are the very first time these characters have ever had toys of any kind whatsoever. So cool that they got them, but it's also very likely that, yeah, this is probably the best Flame's ever going to get. Because while he's a major player in the Marvel UK books, in the larger Transformers fiction, nah, we're not gonna see a whole lot of him again. It's cool to release, and it makes sense for the Marvel like a multi like the weird Marvel colored releases they're doing. I'm just like crossing fingers that this run, this little subset, is successful enough to do more. Purple Soundwave when? That's what I'm saying. And then there's the multi-pack that I think everyone flipped out about. We knew it was coming. We've seen leaks. We've seen previews. We talked about them on this channel, but now it is official. We are getting a GoBot 3-pack based on the eHobby G1 mini bot set that were based on the GoBots. Now, of course, these are not traditionally colored GoBots. I believe a lot of them were based on like prototype colors. So they're not as recognizable as GoBots. That said, they actually have the original GoBot names. We have Pathfinder, we have Smallfoot, and then we have Treads at the bottom. All of them are trademarked. All of the names start with GoBot, like properly hyphenated. GoBot, which is kind of bizarre. Pathfinder has the Guardian sigil on his flag. They're marked as Autobots and Decepticons for the sake of continuity, but that is the Guardian symbol. Which is insane to me that is actually being referenced in, like, officially brought up in Transformers. That's kind of amazing. And then, yeah, you got the vehicle modes that also look really, really nice. That's where you can really see the difference in Smallfoot, who's very, very, very similar to Gears in robot mode, but she makes a decent yellow truck. I really do wish, like, they could push this farther, but of course we know, like, the legality of it because of the Machine Robo stuff. Yeah, unfortunately that's going to make it difficult for them to go any farther, but fingers crossed. I'm hopeful someday. I I think the coolest thing about this and the weirdest thing about this is actually the box. It's in Selects packaging, so it's just like that shades of brown box. However, the GoBot logo is actually on a Transformers product. The real GoBot logo. This is surreal. You understand, when the eHobby set was released, they were originally going to use the name GoBots. They were going to use the original name of the GoBots characters, and then they kind of backed off at the last second. And it just became like 6 weird G1 mini-bot repaints that we just kind of like tongue-in-cheek knew were like GoBot inspired. This is proper modern Transformers as GoBots. And it really makes me wish, like, this is the hardest that Hasbro has ever pushed that connection. This is the hardest that Hasbro has ever pushed to put the GoBots out there again for collectors. And to actually acknowledge that, yes, we own this brand now. And it really gives me hope that they might push a little bit harder in the future. We remember, Transformers and the Hasbro brand as a whole does have full ownership of the intellectual property of GoBots. Meaning, if they look different in the cartoon like Crasher, they could get away with releasing a character who has the stylings and looks of Crasher. You know, all it takes is finding those GoBot characters that in the original, like, Hanna-Barbera cartoon looked different enough from the Machine Robo toy to get away with. So they could push it a little bit harder, or at the very least, do what these bots did and come up with some other new ways of, like, adapting G1 style molds to homage GoBots of the past that have not had toys since the 80s. This is an exciting prospect, and it's just a really cool set. It makes me want to go back and get get Road Ranger, because I skipped out that twin pack of Huffer retools. I skipped that because it didn't interest me at the time. Knowing they're going to complete that G1 Minibot set, now I'm interested. Now I'm going to have to go back and get that. And then I'm going to have to be like everybody else waiting for Bad Boy to come out because we don't even have a modern Power Glide mold to make him from. But that's another day. For now, those were the releases. Those were all the new stuff over the course of the week. I'm going to be honest, it very much feels like the last wave of a line that is filled with a few re-releases, a few, mostly repaints and retools, and then maybe one new figure here. Something that we can release, down the road again, to get it out there a little bit more. But overall, it is kind of a weird and kind of lacking set of releases. It all seems like they were just necessary, to check boxes, just necessary to do a Slipstream from the Windblade, necessary to do the 2 Galvatrons since we went ahead and made those molds. There's no, while the characters are exciting, the overall toys themselves, maybe not as much, but I'm a sucker. I'm still getting them because I have holes in my collections to fill, and there is enough there to keep me interested. But let me know in the comments below which ones you are the most excited for. Tell me who the one person championing the redeco of Metal Hawk is. I know you're out there. Tell me who you are. I promise I won't shame you. But let me know in the comments below which ones you're excited for. And as always, I will see you next time.